March 15th, 3:33 a.m., Theatrum Neutralis, Lobby. Mr. Alba, I request that you testify once more. As if there is anything else for me to testify about. I still have yet to fully prove that it was Mr. Alba who murdered Mr. Kochi. Well, I would like to hear about your movements before the murder occurred. I wonder if you could tell us about what you did here at the Theatrum Neutralis. Very well. I suppose I could tell you about that. Because about all I did was watch the Steel Samurai stage show. Elaborating on even that alone is good enough for me. The only way for me to place this man under arrest is to pinpoint the exact location of where the murder took place, for that is the key to this investigation. The final testimony, the Steel Samurai show. I watched from the last row. The stage was well lit, but it was dark out of the audience. I swear, I was there in the audience, but it's hard to prove that, I suppose. I do remember the contents of the show very well, though. Is that proof enough for you? Those moving scenes were seared in this old man's heart. I'll never forget them. So you were in the theater proper watching the Steel Samurai stage show, were you? Of course I was. I have a great fondness for the Steel Samurai. Yeah, I was pretty cool up there, wasn't I? You're not the one who was cool. It's the Steel Samurai who is cool. Yeah, and the Steel Samurai special finishing move today was really something, huh? Hey, Edgy! Who is she? Who is this super cute girl? She's been standing here this whole time, and only now he notices her? Her name is Kay Faraday, and she's helping me in my investigation.
Sorry I didn't get to introduce myself earlier, but better late than never.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm Larry Box!
Silence in the peanut gallery. There's no time for such trivialities at a time like this.
Mr. Prosecutor, this is the final battle. You got that? I know. This is the end. For that man there. Now that's the kind of thing I like to hear. I think I'll give trusting you a try, Mr. Prosecutor. Or rather, Mr. Edgeworth. I leave this critical battle up to you, Mr. Edgeworth. Have no fear. I will finish the job. This really is the endgame. The time has come to expose every last one of Mr. Alba's lies. And we're pressing all of that. I watched from the last row. The stage was well lit, but it was dark out in the audience. The last row. I should think that an ambassador would have had special seating reserved. I wanted my staff to enjoy the Steel Samurai show as well, so I gave up all of the good seats for them. It was enough for me to simply see him.
Hey! The Steel Samurai wasn't the only hero. Let's not forget about the Pink Princess here.
My dear madam, if you continue to thrust about like that, your hip may begin to hurt again.
Oh my!
Well, aren't you the considerate person when you want to be?
But this young butterfly's on the side of edgy poo,
so you can spare me the flirtatious come-ons.
Wow, he's completely frozen.
In frustration, perhaps. I dare say she can be one rather trying opponent. In any case, Mr. Alba, can you actually prove to us that you are watching the show? I swear I was there in the audience, but it's hard to prove that, I suppose. Are you admitting, then, that you have no way of proving to us that you were watching? Quiet! You buzz in my ear like a pesky little fly. If you don't wish to listen quietly until the end of what I have to say, then perhaps you should pack up and get out of my way. I see that you're willing to be a bit more receptive now. While it's true that it may be difficult to prove that I was out of the audience, I do remember the contents of the show very well, though. Is that proof enough for you? Well, I remember the contents of the show as well myself. That's nice. That's nice.
Miles Edgeworth, don't allow yourself to be riled up by him at this important juncture.
I wasn't planning to let him.
Well, if you ask me, I think I'm the biggest Steel Samurai expert around here.
And didn't you think the climactic scene of today's show was just totally awesome? Yes, I remember that well. And that spectacular special move. The way you delivered the final blow against the evil magistrate. Early summer rain jam. Oh, that scene will live on in my heart forever.
Is that how it went? I totally forgot about that.
How can you forget your own special moves?
That's the special attack the Steel Samurai uses when he's using the Samurai Spear.
Yes, and today was the first time they showed it off, was it not? If I hadn't watched the show, then how could I answer you with the name of the move?
I suppose you are correct, but if you could please elaborate on this point for me.
One of the scenes was of his never-before-seen early summer rain jam move. Here's the thing, he couldn't even do it even if he tried.
The special move today was the early summer rain jam. Is that your final answer?
Objection!
You little irritating gnat! Do you think you can trip me up by asking the same question over and over?
That was not my intention. Your testimony is more than sufficient. However, I believe it would be wise for you to take a look at this.
The Samurai Spear? What about it?
This spear actually never made it on stage today.
Excuse me?
Unfortunately for you, tonight's Steel Samurai happened to be a goof of a young man with an abundance of useless hot-bloodedness. Having said that, said useless man bent the spear during his rehearsal this evening. Okay, do you remember what the Steel Samurai special move was tonight?
It was the Steel Samurai sushi slash.
Correct. Because he couldn't use the spear, a last-minute change was made. Had you really been watching the show, you would have known the move that was used. Quercus Alba! You didn't watch even a single minute of the Steel Samurai stage show tonight, did you? So if he wasn't watching the show tonight, then it opens up the possibility that he was busy killing Mr. Cochin instead. So where were you during the show? I demand an answer, now! Just what is so funny? You're so sloppy, and so are your conclusions. I still insist that I watch the show. Well, most of it in any case. What do you mean by most of it? Ah, you see, during the show I left my seat for a spell to visit the bathroom. I assume that was when that dramatic scene was played out on stage.
That is the lousiest, lamest excuse I've ever heard in my life, pal.
Just because he got the name of the move wrong. We can't really use that as proof that he didn't watch the show at all. As a fan of the Steel Samurai, I had wanted to watch the entire show. Honest.
Objection!
As a Steel Samurai fan, for someone who wasn't even in his seat for the climax of the show, you have no right to call yourself a Steel Samurai fan. Ever. Who was that just now? It would be I, young lady.
Larry, what are you doing interrupting me like that?
Edgy! Please, hold for a second, I beg. You may never accept this old man as a Steel Samurai fan, but I totally think he's a Steel Samaniac.
What exactly is a Steel Samaniac, pal?
I believe he meant to say Steel Samurai Maniac.
Yeah,
And trust me, I know a real fan when I see one because I'm the Steel Samurai.
Objection!
I will never acknowledge you as the true Steel Samurai. What are you getting so worked up over, Mr. Edgeworth? It appears that the real Steel Samurai recognizes me as a fan. As well he should, for I am a fan. It's not as though I missed the entire show. It was a most amazing show filled with the spirit of the young and the young at heart. The sarcasm dripping from his long wooden nose couldn't run any thicker.
Getting the name of the move wrong only proves that he didn't watch the last scene. What I really need here is something more definitive. Something that links Mr. Alba directly to the murder of Mr. Manny Cochin.
You know what, Gramps? You're really something else.
I'm honored to receive such praise from the Steel Samurai, but what is it for?
Well, I was just wondering how you found out about the early summer rain jab. That move is a bit of a secret that only a small portion of the staff know about.
Wait, it was a secret?
Larry, wait, what did you just say? Huh? Did I say something stupid again?
Did you say that the early summer rain jab was actually a secret?
Well, maybe I shouldn't have said secret. It's more like we only decided on the name of the move right before the start of the show.
Right before?
Yeah, the stage director was going nuts because we were supposed to debut the move. About 5 minutes before the show, we threw it up on the dressing room's whiteboard. Early summer rain jab. That's kind of how we decided the name of the move. But by that time, I already bent the spear, so I guess the whole thing was kind of pointless.
All of you Steel Samurai actors are the same. The director has my complete sympathy.
Long story short, because we changed the move to the sushi slash, we kind of pretended that the early summer rain jab didn't exist at all. Hold up.
Apologies for this, let's continue.
I mean, it'd be bad if someone found out we changed the move, so we made it a secret.
So basically, a gag order was issued for publicity's sake.
It almost makes the early summer rain jab sound like a lost art.
Yeah, which is why I think most of the staff haven't even heard of the move.
Hold these lips of yours still.
What the heck, old man?
I've done nothing but listen, and from what I can tell, it's all very unrelated to the case. It's also very tedious and a pointless exercise in wasting time, much like a kid's show. Mr. Alba, I believe the one who should be quiet now is you. How dare you! I suspect that you've already noticed exactly what the very severe implications are in this man's testimony. Ha! So now you're trying to bully me, huh? There are no implications to be read into a behind-the-scenes story of a kid's show. Don't even think about trying to slither your way out of this, Quercus Alba. You were the one who said it yourself, but the name of the move was Early Summer Rain Jab. But that name was only decided upon right before the show was about to start. So, just what are you driving at? That the name of the move you told us was never used in the show or said aloud. Now then, would you care to tell us about how you found out the name of that move?
Because I can only think of one way you could have known.
Quercus Alba, this is the only way you could have known the name of the special move. You saw it. You knew the name because you saw it. You saw it on the dressing room's whiteboard. The staff members who knew were keeping it a secret, so you couldn't have simply gone up to a staff member and asked, which means that the only other option left is that you saw it on the whiteboard.
So that means that Mr. Alba was in there at some point, right?
But what's the big deal, sir? I don't see what that means. There is another piece of evidence that has a great deal to do with the dressing room, so we can't afford to let this slide. This is related to both the dressing room and to Mr. Cochin's murder. The pushcart!
Take that!
The pushcart that was used to move the body was right there in the dressing room. During the show, the pushcart awaited its turn to be pushed on stage in the dressing room. And it was finally pushed there along with the Iron Infant in the last scene of the show. And then right after the show ended, it went into Alabast along with the Steel Samurai. Which means that the only time the killer could have placed the body inside the pushcart was when the pushcart was in the dressing room backstage.
So basically, the killer has to be someone who visited the dressing room during the show.
Precisely.
Oh, but wait! What if, and this is just a what if, what if the murder took place right in the dressing room?
What do you mean, Kay? I have to admit, she brings up a valid possibility. During the show, the dressing room was supposed to be devoid of people. Slipping undetected into a private dressing room then would be as simple as pie.
The killer must have come up with the idea to move the body with the pushcart then, too.
Correct. Thus making the theater's dressing room the ideal location for the murder of Manny Cochin. Quercus Alba, during the show, you went down to the dressing room. and I want to know why. Yes. Yes, I was there. I went into the dressing. I knew it! I'm placing you under arrest right now, pal. You got that? Arrest!
Objection!
Not so fast. What is it now? Don't I deserve a chance to explain myself? Explain? What is there to explain? I believe I told you earlier that I went to the bathroom. Well, I got lost when I did. I wanted to ask for directions, but when I opened the dressing room door, no one was inside. And that's when I saw the name of the move on the whiteboard. You punk! Still trying to get out of this?
Do you really think you can get away at this point? Mr. Edgeworth, isn't there anything you can do to stop him?
I don't have enough evidence on hand to do anything. I don't have the airtight evidence I need to put this man away for good. But if that's what I need, then perhaps... Agent Lang, I believe an investigation of the dressing room in question is in order. It's possible that we may find new evidence there. Yeah, if Mr. Edgeworth pokes around there, I'm sure you'll find some new facts, pal.
Ooh, and if we use little thing, we may even learn something from a recreation.
We don't need to do any of that.
What? Wolfie? How could you?
I'm not saying this to be mean. It's just that we've already searched there. My men really are something else.
And they found nothing?
There's only one thing I can say to you, sis, is that they found nothing. That's it.
I guess you're right. If they had found something, they would have reported it to us.
They couldn't find anything because there was nothing there to find.
And if there is no info to feed a little thief, then I can't do much to help either.
Is this the end? The murder took place in this theater, which is not protected under extraterritorial rights. And the fact that it was Mr. Alba himself who committed the murder, if I can't prove both statements to be true, Mr. Alba walks away a free man. Is there no other course of action left to us? It would appear that your hand of cards have turned out to be a bust. Now, if you will excuse me, because of you people I missed my flight. Now I must make haste to arrange for a new one.
Who is it this time? Hold it right there, you whippersnappers!
First Larry, and now you!
What is with that scary mobster-like scowl on your face, Edgy Boo? Don't treat me like I'm some sort of nuisance. I've been meaning to say this, but all of you keep talking about things I don't get at all. You're all leaving this lady in the sad, depressing, lonely dust, and I'm about to cry it.
Why did you have to speak up right at this instant?
But you know what, Edgy Boo? Cheer up! Because I'm about to give you the most wonderful thing.
The most wonderful thing from you.
It's so super special that I couldn't give it away to just anyone, you know. My special present of love to my sweet Edgy Boo. Are you ready? It's this.
It's a box of those samurai dogs, right?
Yes. Oh, Edgy Boo, here, go on and eat one and you'll feel as right as rain.
Are we through here?
Why did everyone get so quiet all of a sudden? Edgy Boo, tell me you understand the depths of this lady's love for you. I'm not one to hand out snacks willy-willy, you know. No, sir. Thought occurred to me that maybe it would be good if I fed you and made sure you were nice and full. One day it's my dream to serve you some of my own homemade food. I mean, isn't it the desire of every woman to make sure that their beloved never goes hungry? And that's what I want to experience. I will tell you what to do.
I'm having a headache.
Mr. Edgeworth, can't you do anything about her?
There is no power on earth that can force that woman into silence.
But I'm so sick and tired of it. All you people do is look down on me. Even this box of samurai dogs played me for a fool. It had a special design on its band like the Japanese flag, so I thought it was special. When I ate one, it tasted just like all the rest. Oh, it made me so mad.
Wait, a special box with a Hinamaru-like fan on it? I've never heard of such a piece of merchandise existing before. However, there it is. The red sun on this fan is filled in. Is it possible? Could it be?
After the show, the samurai dogs were piled up on the dressing room floor. However, there is no such thing as a Hinamaru dog or Rising Sun dog. This contradiction of facts between something that should not exist and yet does. The rays of the red sun may be just what we needed to point us in the right direction. Before that, let me see if anything else. I see.
A present?
The studio bigwigs basically told us to play delivery boys. We were supposed to hand the dogs off to the embassy people and tell them hi. I had to pile them all into the pushcart just to move them. I believe you understand what this means, correct? You killed Mr. Coachman at this theater and then placed his body inside the pushcart. And then, you forced the Steel Samurai to unwittingly move the body for you. It's time to piece the final pieces of this logic puzzle together, no matter how fragile or small the connections may be. Once we've found them all, the weight of the truth will be revealed. Yep. 3 left. Samurai dogs and the body in the pushcart. The killer used the pushcart to transport the body, which means that they had to remove the samurai dogs from within first. Therefore, the samurai dogs that were piled up on the dressing room floor were most likely taken out of the pushcart by the killer. Now the Hinamaru dogs, or the Rising Sun dogs, and the samurai dogs were removed. Let's finally put this to an end. That which should not exist, this box of samurai dogs with a Hinamaru on it, or Rising Sun, if this red sun was filled in when the killer was busy removing samurai dogs from the pushcart, then it's proof that the murder took place in the dressing room, as long as this red substance turned out to be what I believe it to be. Wendy Oldbag, I thank you. What you have given to me is truly something very special.
Oh.
Mr. Edgeworth, are you sure you're feeling okay, sir? Mr. Alba, as I suspected, you killed Mr. Coach in the dressing room. How many times must I listen to you repeat yourself? Haven't you figured it out yet? Your words are meaningless, worthless, and powerless. The only way I'm going to continue to cooperate is with some definitive evidence. That arrogance, that self-confidence. You believe that you've erased every piece of evidence that could incriminate you. However, there remains one piece here, and it is what will put you away for good. Ha! You're bluffing. Oh, hey, Mr. Prosecutor, sounds like you finally found it. You finally found the fangs we needed to go after this guy's jugular. So tell us, what about that box of samurai dogs gonna put the old man away? The trace evidence that will bring him down? Why, it's here, of course. Yep, right here. This box of samurai dogs with a Hinamaru fan on it. This should never have existed. So I want you all to take a good look at this red spot. It's a single drop of blood.
Huh?
What? Blood, you say? Agent Lang, I like this blood analyzed post-haste. I've got to admit, I'm a bit surprised. I can't believe we found blood in a place like this. Hey, you, get this down to the lab, pronto.
But why was there blood on that box to begin with?
If we think about the flow of the crime, I think the reason will become obvious. Larry, you said that you transported the samurai dogs with the pushcart, correct? Oh, yeah. You have a great memory, Edgy. That pushcart was a bit too big for my son, you know what I mean? So to make sure everyone could see him, I had to pile some stuff in. I figured the samurai dogs were there, so I used them to fill up the cart. If what Larry says is true, then what were the boxes doing on the floor? Ah, I see. The killer took them out in order to place the body in the pushcart. Exactly, and that is when I believe the victim's blood found its way onto that box. But when my men investigated that room, not a single box of samurai dogs was in there, because embassy staff members already confiscated them. Yes, no doubt to hide the evidence of the murder.
It's a good thing Miss Oldbag managed to steal that one box before they got to them, huh? Looks like Miss Oldbag also managed to put this great thief to shame.
What a scandalous way of putting that!
I didn't steal. I received it from myself.
Quercus Alba, I'd say this was one very fatal oversight on your part.
Check shot.
Sorry to rain on your little love fest, however.
How? How can he be so self-confident in a no-win situation for him like this?
Even if that blood turns out to belong to Mr. Cochin, then what?
So, Mr. Edgeworth, it sounds like he's not ready to call it quits yet, huh?
The sole piece of evidence that was left at the scene of the crime, that alone has shed light on a new fact. At the very least, we now have proof that the murder occurred in the dressing room. And you say that like it means something.
Huh?
Excuse me, sirs. Report! What were the results of the analysis? Sir, the analysis came back and confirmed that the red substance is blood. I knew it. With this Quercus Alba.
Check shot.
Mr. Edgeworth, I wonder if you might humor my question. Your question? The one from before, or have you forgotten? Even if that is Mr. Cochin's blood, what difference would it make? Like we already told you, it proves that the crime scene was that dressing room.
Check shot.
But it doesn't prove that I am your killer, does it?
Yeah, that's...
He has a very good point. The blood on that box doesn't prove that Mr. Alba is the killer.
Then, this evidence, it's meaningless.
That can't be! We were so close, sir!
I want to smack that smug look off his face. Come on, there's got to be something we can do.
We finally found a solid piece of evidence. There must be something I can expose with it.
I can't think of a single thing.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll be on my way. Who is that? It's too late. I won't allow anyone to stop me now. It wasn't me, pal.
And it wasn't me this time either. It wasn't me either.
It was me! Why did you?
Because I haven't finished reporting everything to you yet, sir.
There's more?
What? Hurry up and spit it out.
Yes, sir. That blood I mentioned. It's not of the same blood type as the victim's blood.
What? No!
What?
What do you mean it's not the same type? You mean it's not the victim's blood? If it isn't his, then who the hell's is it?
I don't know, sir. All I know is that it's not the same blood type as the victim, sir.
What should we do now, Mr. Edgeworth? I have no idea what's what anymore.
Neither do I. My, what an amusing turn of events. That blood drop proves something to be true, all right. Namely, my words. And which one of your words would that be? The ones where I said that your words are meaningless, worthless, and powerless. That blood has nothing to do with the murder investigation whatsoever. Need I remind you that the blood got out of that box long before it entered my embassy?
What sort of nonsense?
Yeah, it's blood, pal. There's no way it's not related to the murder. So you would like to believe. But what if someone preparing the samurai dongs had a small nosebleed? What then? I guess that's possible.
Damn it! Have we been wasting our time on a red herring?
The blood doesn't belong to anyone connected to the case. That should be clue enough.
Quercus Alba! You bastard!
Silence! Don't you ever address me with such a filthy word again! And this is the only time you're gonna hear me say it. I've wasted enough time here with you, and you have your answers. Now let me through! Alba, it doesn't matter where you run off to. You'll never escape me. Someday, I'll have the satisfaction of sinking my fangs into you. You'll see. And all of Interpol will be behind me. We're gonna see to it that that day comes. Do you know what your words sound like to me?
They sound like the whinings of a pathetic loser of a mutt. Is this really the extent of all that we can do? Is this blood really from someone completely unrelated to the case? Or is there another possibility? Someone else other than the victim? Just when I thought I had him backed into a corner, it is I who has been backed into one. In a situation like this, what would that man do? No. What would Phoenix Wright do? What would he, who can turn any desperate situation around, do? Turn it around. That's it! I must turn my way of thinking around. It's not whose blood is this. It's whose blood could get onto the box like this. And if I think about it that way, if the blood got onto the box when the body was being placed into the pushcart, then the owner of said blood must have been in the dressing room at the time. And there is only one person that could be. Well, I must praise you for trying so hard. It's because of you kids that I was removed from center stage, and will be forced to live out the rest of my life in the shadows, unfortunately. But it's not a total loss. The underworld will allow me more freedom than you'll ever know. Freedom like what the raven feels as it flies through the dark night sky. You can't lay a finger on me. Not now or ever. The arm of the law is powerless before me.
Objection!
I don't think so. Powerless, is it? I wouldn't be so sure about that if I were you. What do you mean? Allow me to describe you in one word. Pitiful. Pitiful? How so? Quercus Alba, your wings were clipped long ago. And for someone who is trying to fly away on them without noticing that fact, pitiful is the perfect word to describe you. Ha! Mere words.
What do you mean by his wings are clipped, Mr. Edgeworth?
Just what you think it means, Kay. We already caught him in our trap a while back, with an incredibly powerful definitive piece of evidence. Hey, Earth to Mr. Prosecutor, can you speak in English? What are you talking about? What piece of evidence? The piece I speak of is, of course, this drop of blood.
But we know that it's not from the victim. I don't see how it remains relevant to the case at all.
Miss Von Karma, I believe that is exactly why it's very important to the case. And the part that is the most important is the fact that it's not the victim's blood. You're looking a little pale. Good. Then I believe you're already aware of what I mean. Then, you know who the blood belongs to? Of course I do. This piece of evidence is the irrefutable proof that will stop the killer in his tracks. The blood that soiled this box of samurai dogs belongs to this person, Quercus Alba.
Take that!
The blood of the red sun on this box belongs to you, Quercus Alba.
What? What? Why is his blood on the box of samurai dogs? He's not even a victim.
The blood fell onto the box when Mr. Cochin's body was being loaded into the pushcart. At the time, the only two people in the dressing room were the victim and his killer. So that's what you mean. If the blood doesn't belong to the victim,
then there is only one person it could belong to.
Yes, and that person is the murderer himself. That's the only logical conclusion. But Mr. Cochin was the one who was stabbed, sir. Why would Mr. Alba have been the one who was bleeding? What if during the murder, Mr. Cochin had fought back?
You mean if before Mr. Alba could kill him, Mr. Cochin managed to wound Mr. Alba?
Yes, and I believe we have a piece of evidence that proves that he was bleeding then. What is the piece of evidence that shows that Mr. Alba was probably bleeding at the time? Simple. Alba's wound. Mr. Alba, you bear on your body a great wound. That was from when Damas 2 attacked me with a pair of scissors.
Yeah, and that happened way after he was in the dressing room.
Ah, but is that what really happened? You can manufacture a weapon by smearing blood on it, so I can't just accept that as fact. Shall we try a test, Mr. Alba, and see if the shape of your wound matches the scissors?
Objection!
You really are something else, Mr. Edgeworth. You don't let a single thing slip you by, no matter how insignificant the possibility. You're one to talk, Mr. Alba. You've managed to give the law the slip for 10 years as the smuggling ring's leader. No matter the danger, you can hide every last ounce of fear and anxiety from everyone. You truly are a one-of-a-kind criminal.
Objection!
I am the master of my fear. However, to think that a person such as you could miss such a large thing. You believe I've overlooked something. You said that my wound was caused by Mr. Cochin, and that it was caused here in one of the theater's dressing rooms, right? Yes, that is correct. I'd like to point out that it's simply not possible. My wound is a stab wound and one that could only have come from a blade. I wonder where you would propose that such a weapon came from.
Ah! This theater was packed with security guards! It would have been impossible for anyone to come into this area with a weapon of any sort!
Just as Mr. Alba was able to bring in the Alabastian knife in a bouquet, there must have been some other way to sneak in a weapon of some sort. Ah, but as long as you can't prove what that other way is, all your talk about Mr. Cochin stabbing me is pure nonsense. So if that other way does exist, you better hurry and tell me now. With pleasure. Wait, what? This piece of evidence shows us how Mr. Cochin brought a weapon into this theater. Simple. The Yatagarasu's key!
Take that!
Among law enforcement, this piece is known as the Yatagarasu's key. That key!
That's the key that my father stole from here 7 years ago.
And it is very unique in that it is both a key and a knife. Meaning that under the guise of a key, it could have easily brought into the theater. You couldn't dispose of the knife that stabbed you. Therefore, you wiped off the blood and placed it back in Mr. Cochin's pocket. After all, the key itself opens the safe in his office. And inside that safe, there was a document about Gaddafi in paper, signed by Mr. Cochin, in order to make it look like Mr. Cochin died as the leader of the smuggling ring. You had to make it so that the police were the ones who opened that office safe. All that hard work to save yourself only served to destroy you in the end. Shall we try matching this knife's blade with your wound, Mr. Quercus Alba? And that is what some may call the coup de grace. Impossible. You can't take me down. Swine, all of you! Especially Manny Cochin! This is all because of that man's betrayal! He sought to steal control of the smuggling ring from me by removing me as ambassador, which is why he deserved to die while bearing the guilt for all of my crimes for me. That's why I sent out the Yatagarasu's card, and how this incident was born. Manny was supposed to be the smuggling ring's leader, who was killed by the Yatagarasu. But I had yet another reason, yet another story that was supposed to play out. Manny's death was supposed to bring everything to a close, and I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling prosecutors! Mr. Alba, I'm afraid there is one more question I forgot to ask. This country's or Alabas? Which country's court would you like to face first? Either way, it's game over for you. March 17th, 11:21 a.m., District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. Phew! This is it! The big day! Mr. Alba's trial today. And next week, he's scheduled to stand trial in his own country of Alabas. Francisca's heading that one. I suspect she'll be serving a full course of whiplashes at it. Having to face Miss Von Karma in court right after facing you, sir?
I don't even want to think of what that would be like. I caught a glimpse of Mr. Alba as he was being escorted into the courthouse. And boy, he looked about as glum as I do the day before I get my monthly paycheck. You know, I've been thinking. That flight attendant and even Mr. Portsman were all Mr. Alba's secret agents.
Correct. That smuggling ring was the common thread between all of the incidents. Cammy Meal was to provide support during smuggling ops, using her job as an attendant. And Mr. Portsman was to manipulate trials related to the ring to end in their favor.
OU Airlines and even the prosecutor's office?
No one was safe from the smuggling ring, sir? I suspect there are even more members of this ring spread throughout the world.
Yeah, sounds like such a big op that I can't even begin to imagine what it's like.
What is it, Detective?
It's nothing. It's just, well, come to think of it, Mr. Ernest Amano's trial is also scheduled for later today, sir.
I'm aware of that. Mr. Amano has been working with the smuggling ring now for over 10 years. He used the Amano Group's various connections worldwide to assist the ring. But all of that has come to an end as his conglomerate is now undergoing harsh scrutiny. I owe Mr. Amano a debt of gratitude, but he must pay his debt to society.
Well, with the arrest of both Mr. Alba and Mr. Amano, I guess that about wraps up the KG-8 incident as well, huh?
I suppose so. The real killer in the KG-8 incident 10 years ago was Manny Cochin. And 7 years ago, the killer in the second incident was Mac Rao. Those two facts are the unshakable truth. However, it seems that a lot of effort was put into hiding these and other truths from us. And I will expose it all at the trial today.
You're solving cases left and right today, aren't you, sir?
Say you, indeed, man. Perhaps now, these two brave souls who tried to make the truth known can rest in peace. By the way, I received some gifts from Ambassador Palermo. Shrimp, crab, beef. I don't need any of these, so I'm giving them to you.
What? Seriously, sir? Wait, actually, I don't think I want them. The way you're holding them, don't tell me they're just coupons, sir.
Detective Gumshoe, have you not read the paper recently? Ever since the two countries became Gaddafi again, its economy has changed.
Really?
And it seems that Ambassador Palermo has reaped a few benefits of its own from it. He has been announced as the official ambassador of the newly reunified Gaddafi. But what a pity. Even though every item he sent is a treasure, you don't seem all that interested. Well, if you don't want them, I can give them to my lovely assistant, Kay.
Wait! That's not what I said! So, Mr. Edgeworth, please let me have them, sir. Actually, come to think of it, where is Kay? How come she's still not here?
Hey, you've got to be more alert than that. I can't believe you didn't notice. I was even mimicking Mr. Edgeworth's voice for a bit.
I totally didn't notice you or realize that voice was you. MegamanNG says, ferocious love blooms with each new spring.
Agent Lang, a pleasant surprise to see you here.
It's been a long time since I set foot in the courthouse, but I wasn't gonna miss watching the guy who screwed up my country finally get what's coming to him. Well, that and something else. I want to see you in action in court.
Is that so, Agent Lang?
We flushed out all the counterfeit bills, so Shang Fa is finally at base again. And it's all thanks to you. So I just want to say, thanks.
Wow, I never thought I'd see the day old Wolfie says thanks to Mr. Edgeworth.
I should be the one thanking you, Agent Lang. If you hadn't negated Mr. Alba's extraterritorial rights, I would not have been able to bring him to trial. I believe the victory belongs to the both of us in this case.
A shared victory, huh? Look, don't get me wrong. I'll still never forgive you prosecutors. And I have zero interest in that truth thing you talk about in court. I've always done things my own way, and that's not about to change. You got that?
I see. Well, I believe you should follow your own creed when you do your job.
Yeah, and if there's ever someone your precious truth can't catch, feel free to sit around and cry about it all you want. But as for me, I'm gonna get that person, no matter what.
All right. It's about time for the trial to start. I will see you later.
I'll be watching your performance from the gallery. I'm looking forward to this. I prepared a whole ton of ticker tape for today's victory, sir.
I'll throw some around when Mr. Edgeworth wins.
Hope you've got enough because I'm going to go call my men up as well. A modest amount of ticker tape goes a long way.
The scene shifts to the courtroom, and the final act of this long tale begins. The legend of the great thief Yadagarasu is the story of those who chose to dedicate their lives to the pursuit of the truth. Prosecutors are those who seek a guilty verdict for the defendants they meet, and to that end you have no choice but to win by any means necessary. That creed was forced onto me since I was very young. However, I no longer think that is all we prosecutors are, and that is because... Even though I've only been away from the courtroom for a short time, I feel as though it's been a lifetime since I set it foot in one. And today, more than any other day, I feel the fight within me rising.
Objection!
That came in real fast. I apologize. But with this, Ace Attorney Investigations has finally come to a close.
I am really in Mr. Edgeworth's debt for the other day. Thanks to him, I'm still free to serve in the friendly blue skies. Oh, so about my suitcases. I've been selling them on the internet, and they've become a real sensation. Thanks to the praise the art world has lavished on my work as being truly postmodern. The airline has chosen me to design their new line of Go You jumbo jets. Just think, someday you'll be able to take a ride in my pink-walled, yellow-seated jet.
I'd say that was a good way for this to end. This game was pretty solid, and I love it. I love Ace Attorney Investigations. I love it a lot.
Edgeworth? Ah, the rudeness of a rude man. Because of him, my time and money's wasted. But more importantly, I received the most fantastic treasure recently. The primitive statue of the Principality of Cadapia. It weighs a bit light in my hands, but the Ambassador Paliano was most generous.
Wow, I'd say that's a good thing. And yeah, you could say this playthrough is a follow-up to a playthrough that was very old. Years ago.
We finally caught Agent Hicks' killer, and I was able to witness Mr. Alba's teary eyes. It feels good to finally bring everything to a close. I received another offer from Interpol to work another case in cooperation with them. However, the Cadapian courts await. Cadapia's air is supposed to be very fresh, so my whip should find new vigor there.
Well, at least I'm happy that's done. And I like the credits look back on all the people we've met.
This little patrolman has been fired as of today, sir.
I thought I was safe since we found the gun I had dropped.
But I hadn't noticed that I dropped my police badge, too.
I guess what really broke the camel's back was that I couldn't find my badge.
My little life has suddenly tripped into a dark black hole, sir. I think I'll go to the courthouse and file a complaint with Rufflesman.
I wonder if that eventually led to him becoming a bailiff in the court in Apollo Justice. I don't really know. I honestly don't know. But it is good to see some familiar faces again.
I was actually hoping to talk with Mr. Edgeworth a bit more than I did. But I've got to get going and return to Europe. I've still got a long way to go and a lot of stuff to study there. Next time I help Mr. Edgeworth on a case, I'm going to do it as a real forensic scientist. I'm sure he's going to need all the help I can give him, scientifically.
Don't worry, Emma. You'll probably do that while having to deal with a glamorous fop. I had no idea Arc System Works did involved in this with the graphics. That's nice. Yeah, but whatever happened to Lauren? I feel bad for her.
Because the kidnapping was staged, I was let off easy. But I won't be going outside much anytime soon. That's really okay. The only prison I'm forever trapped in is in the cage of love. The guard down at the detention center, well, when he's on guard duty, he has such a cold look in his eyes, just like that prosecutor. Ah, stop it, Lauren! When will you ever learn to stop being a prisoner of love?
Yeah. When is she gonna stop doing that? And what's worse, we never see her again afterwards. It appears there are all sorts of drama that takes place outside of the courtroom. Since we judges are here day in and day out, I've only heard a few rumors, but apparently Mr. Edgeworth teamed up with a thief and became a detective. Maybe I should team up with a bailiff and try to become a lawyer or something. Who knows? Who honestly knows, honestly? I'm at least happy that this is finally put to rest. Really love the detail in this, I swear.
Phew, I barely escaped death yet again.
Yeah, but boy were we lucky that Mr. Edgeworth helped us out, huh?
Yeah, but because I lost the key, I got fired from my security guard job.
Don't let it get you down, Maggie. You still got me.
You're right, sir. I won't be sad. I'm gonna pick myself up and get through this. I wonder what my next job should be. Ooh, this is actually kind of fun.
I feel bad for Maggie Bird, and she needs at least a happy ending. Hold up a sec. Much better. Man, looking back on all of this, I can honestly say it was fun. Why not come to Cadapia for your summer vacation? We have coupons aplenty. Right now, our embassy is proud to present our Let's Investigate a Murder show. Although recreating that particular case has created a few small fires of its own. Then we had a few problems with the fire marshals. The next event will be great. It will be an attraction entitled Capture the Yatagarasu. Of course, I hope to enlist Kay's help in creating our latest attraction. Yeah, gotta admit, the quality work in this is just nuts. I love it. And like I said, I feel this playthrough here is a follow-up to my old videos that I did back in the day. And it was a lot of work, too. I can't believe that Mindy ditched me and went to Japan. But it's okay, because that's how I met Miharu. We're planning to go to Paris soon and start a business. We're going to sell Blue Ocean dogs. They'll sell like hotcake hot dogs for sure. A blue hot dog and a blue bun. I guarantee it'll turn your tongue and your face blue. I know I'm not really the type to work a lot or at all, really, but... Oh, so I noticed that I really haven't seen the guy in the blue suit at all recently. I wonder what's up. Well, the next time we meet, I'm gonna make him eat one of my dogs. He means Phoenix Wright. Yes, Phoenix Wright does not appear in this game at all. He does make a cameo appearance in Case 3, which I already showed off. But it's surprising that he makes just a cameo on this. I gave testimony in court today, as a member of the Yatagarasu. Yo, Mr. Bat, you look well, all things considered. By the way, have you noticed that elements within the ring have begun moving? They're probably fighting over who should succeed, over who should be the next boss. Although, to be honest, I wish I could forget I'd ever heard of that smuggling ring. Langshi says, thoroughly bite the poisonous snake from head to tail. No one runs afoul of the law and escapes this wolf's fangs. I'll get you all yet. Ah, youth. When did I become so old, I wonder? I've begun noticing the gray hairs in my beard more. I'm thinking of retiring my mirror. And yes, we gotta give credit to Inafune, for better or for worse. Like I said, this game is a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it. A lot. You guys should too.
I was the Pink Princess and the Pink Badger all in the span of 2 days. Talk about busy. But it's alright, because I got a letter from my beloved Edgy-Poo. Please take care of your hip. And when you wish to speak, first take off your headpiece.
What does he mean by that last statement? It's not like I enjoy being under a headpiece every time I see him. Oh, wait, I'm not gonna go through that. Yeah, she went through so much throughout the entire Ace Attorney trilogy. From security guard... I mean, Jesus. But other than that, I am happy this case is put to rest. March 17th, 4:33 p.m. High Prosecutor's Office, says room 1202. Whoop! I feel so much better now that the trial's over. And as always, your legal prowess was top-notch, sir.
Yeah, and nothing beat the look on Mr. Alba's face when you revealed the ring's secrets. I was amazed. You're like a totally different person when you step into a courtroom.
Mr. Edgeworth's always 10 times fiercer in court.
Based on the information Mr. Alba offered up, they've begun large-scale operations to clean up the rest of the ring, which I'm happy to leave to Francisca and Agent Lang.
So, what are your plans now, Kay?
Oh well, we've taken care of the creep who killed my father, so I'm not sure. Hey, I know. Maybe I'll just keep on being Mr. Edgeworth's assistant.
Are you still trying to steal my job, pal?
Sorry, even in an epilogue this thing happens. Let's continue.
Are you still trying to steal my job, pal?
Just kidding, just kidding. I can't steal something so important to you, Gummy.
Phew, what a relief.
Kay,
Yes?
even after all that's happened, are you still planning to become a great thief?
Of course! But I don't want to tarnish the legend of the noble Yatagarasu, so I'm gonna hold off on doing anything until I make a tight 3-person team of my own.
A 3-person team?
A 3-person team of young beauties the same ages as me, if possible.
With those criteria, I highly doubt you'll find the 2 other people you need.
My father chose to fight for the truth. I think that's what was so noble about him. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, the only things I will ever steal are the truths that have been hidden away. I'm going to work extra hard to make a world where the Yatagarasu isn't needed.
Let's both strive for such a future.
Well, I guess it's time for me to get going.
I see.
Kay, keep your chin up and stay strong, okay? And don't be a stranger.
Don't worry, I'll be back. I'll be sure to break the lock on the window and sneak in.
If you could, I'd appreciate it if you came in through the building's front door.
It's okay, Mr. Edgeworth. The lock on my window at home hasn't been broken for forever.
Oh, one last thing before I go. Let's take a group picture, just the 3 of us.
Yeah, commemorative photo. Every big case has to end with one.
No.
Hey, why not?
Don't tell me you're camera shy, Mr. Edgeworth.
Of course not, detective.
Come on, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm taking the picture now. Hey, come back here!
Mr. Edgeworth, you can't run away from this, sir.
Ah, hey, Detective Gumshoe! Stop that! I can't be seen doing that!
Okay, I'm totally taking it now. Say cheese!
And thus, the long tale of the KG-8 incident came to a close. It saw the demise of a smuggling ring and the birth of a little great thief. But there is little time to rest and relax, for I am eager to tackle the investigation into a new case. The reason for my eagerness is my want to pursue the truth and my want to believe in the strength of those who use the power of the law for good. As someone who has chosen to live my life as a prosecutor, that is my new creed.